screen, fakes, fires, stuck it, just stuck it. Butler and Chef Curry put this Warriors team on their shoulders to get them that 7th seed.
You appreciate how important it is to play meaningful games, and now we have a series that's going to be full of meaningful ones.
All right, if you're just joining us, we opened the show today with about 10 minutes on a terrific performance by the Warriors' dynamic duo, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler. Might not have been ideal for the Warriors to be in the play-in, but they get the huge win last night, and now their path might not be too bad. Our ESPN analytics in a best-of-7 series would have favored Oklahoma City to beat the Warriors 87% of the time. Instead, they avoid the Thunder. They get the Rockets. As you see, that's much closer to a 50-50 proposition. So we'll see if Steph and Jimmy and company are able to go forward. Meanwhile, we got a bunch of game ones on the way this weekend. Let's take a look at some more or less, brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Hey, Brian Windhorst, if I said Luka Doncic 28.5 is the over-under for him in game 1 against Minnesota, you going more or less?
I'm going more. Did anybody watch him play Minnesota last year in the conference finals? He averaged 33. Heck yes, I'm going more. And I expect Luka to be primed for this game. He's going to have a week and a half off. Man, I think he's going for big points in this series.
Alan Hahn, the Greek Freak. It's Indiana and Milwaukee. 32.5 is the number for Giannis in game 1. You go more or less?
I go more because he's going to have to. And also, the Pacers don't guard, especially in the paint, one of the worst paint defenses. And he's the best scoring in the paint. And in his 3 wins against Indiana this season, 34, 30, and 37. So he knows he has to carry the bulk of this offense.
All right, and the Knicks Pistons will open on Saturday as well. Windman, 26.5 is the number for Jalen Brunson. More or less?
This is a tougher one, but I'm going with more in this one. The Pistons play tough defense. This is going to be a grinding series at times. The Knicks need Brunson, and they specifically need Brunson in the fourth quarters. I think he's going to rack up late points in these games. They were not the same team without him when he was out with that ankle injury. Now that he's back and he's going to have this week off to rest up, I think you're going to see Jalen Brunson going for big numbers.
All right, so we made that a parlay on ESPN Bet. Those picks, Wendy and Alan just weighing in. If you agree, go to ESPN Bet for the Get Up More or Less parlay. You can take this priced at plus 597. Meanwhile, as far as the Knicks are concerned, Kendrick Perkins was on Alan Hahn's radio show earlier this week. He put all the pressure in New York on one man.
I think Tom Thibodeau is under the most pressure probably of any coach in the NBA. And the way that we're witnessing right now, coaches are losing their jobs. The back and forth that he had with Mikal Bridges, too many minutes, things to that nature. And I love Tibbs. He's my Mbutu brother for life, won a championship with him, but I got to call it like I see it. Tom Thibodeau at least has, at bare minimum, forced a 7-game series against the Boston Celtics in order to keep his job.
And they've got to beat Detroit before they even can start worrying about the Boston Celtics. We're going to keep Schrager in this conversation because he's a crazy Knicks fan. But for those of you who don't know, around the country, Alan works with the Knicks as well all season long. You cover that team literally day in and day out. Do you agree that Tom Thibodeau's job hangs in the balance of this postseason?
First of all, shout out to Don Hahn and Rosenberg on 880 at ESPN New York for that. But I don't think this season that's where it rides. I do think that there is going to be more and more pressure. I think Perk is right when it comes to no coach has more pressure on him right now. But I don't think it's something that if there is this unexpected failure in the first round that there'll be a change in the offseason. It does not mean, though, that they go into next season with the sword of Damocles hanging over Tom Thibodeau. That could be a real thing.
Windman, what do you think?
No, I don't agree with Perk here. I love Perk, but I don't agree with him. Tom Thibodeau signed a very lucrative contract extension before the season. Not that money is a driving factor for the Knicks. They won 51 games this year. They won 50 last year, despite having some injury issues and despite not having depth at the center position. Could Tom Thibodeau do better developing his bench? Absolutely. Are they competitive with the Celtics and the Cavs, at least in the regular season? Absolutely not. But I think the Knicks' play here is more of a long-term play. I know this is not what a New Yorker wants to hear, but the Knicks' play when they signed all these guys was over a 3-year plan to outlast the very expensive second apron Boston Celtics. Evaluate him over that multiple years, not just this year. The Knicks had a very strong season. If they beat the Pistons, they will have had a good playoff. that's where it's going to be. It doesn't mean you're under the world if you're not winning the title.
Voice of the Knicks fan, if the Knicks don't make the Celtics sweat in round 2, how will you feel?
Why'd we get rid of Dante DiVincenzo? Why didn't we sign Hartenstein? What was the point of all these deals for Bridges and for Towns? I don't blame Tibbs. I know Knicks fans are split. He plays these guys too many minutes during the regular season, so they have nothing left in the playoffs. But when you lose Julius Randle 2 years ago for the playoffs and Brunson last year, I don't think that's fair on Tibbs. But I look at Cat, I look at Bridges. Are we better this year than we were a year ago? And if so, it didn't show up in the regular season against the Cavs and the Celtics. I'm not overlooking Pistons, by the way. And Alan, to me, Detroit scares me. They played last week, starters were in there, and the Pistons beat up on the Knicks. They are a tough team, and they are not to be overlooked.
I will leave this thought here. Tom Thibodeau is not a good coach. He's a great coach. And the reason that people have the wrong perception of Tom Thibodeau is that he actually treats the regular season like it matters. So, and when the postseason begins, his teams don't have another level to go to. They are already maxing out what they are capable of doing, whereas a lot of other teams are just sort of waiting until what they perceive to be important. So when people say they think Tibbs underachieves in the playoffs, that's actually not accurate. He overachieves in the regular season. He makes teams better in the regular season, and then people are saying, well, why is it they were so good in the regular season? Because all these other teams are waiting to step it up to another level. Tom Thibodeau's biggest strength is perceived as his biggest weakness.
He cares more than a fan. I'll tell you that. He lives and breathes the job. This matters to him more than you can imagine. And he is somebody that understands everything that comes with this. And this is a team, by the way, that was playing great offensive basketball for half the season. They have not played their best yet. And don't sleep on playoff Brunson.
Yeah, Tibbs sat in here when he was between jobs recently. Coach, if they fire you, ridiculous. I got your omelet waiting for you every single morning in the 6 o'clock.
Game start in the Eastern Conference. Heat and Bulls, 7:30 Eastern time, followed by Anthony Davis and the Mavericks visiting the Kings in Sacramento. Coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern time.
What to watch for is brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Bring your color to life with the very best paint.
All right, according to odds by ESPN Sportsbook, the only team with shorter odds to win the West than the Lakers is the Thunder. The Lakers are the 3 seed, their best seeding since 2019-2020 when they were the 1 seed, ended up winning that title in the bubble. Bobby Marks is back with us on SportsCenter. That 3-6 series is where we start, Bobby. Pick the number, okay? How many points per game does Anthony Edwards have to put up for the Timberwolves to upset the Lakers?
Randy, I'm going to say 31, and not because my favorite player is Mike Piazza of all time, but based on what Anthony Edwards was able to do last year in that Phoenix series. That's what he averaged in that series. And I think the big key for Edwards in this Lakers series is to exploit the paint here. We've seen an